we'd like to take care of before we get started. Number one, if you need the restrooms, there's some directly behind you, or if you go outside the door and turn right, there's some in the hallway. This is set to be for 1 hour, so we'll be here until about 7:30. And we also have Spanish translation for tonight, as well as childcare. So if you know of anyone that comes in with childcare, or know of anyone that's headed this way, just let them know to check in with the staff in the front when they come in. Some of them are wonderful people from Zode to give us some instructions about tonight, and then the next voice you'll hear will be that of our city manager, Deborah Campbell.
Hola, muy buenas noches a todos. Nosotras somos Rocío y Patti de la cooperativa de diéresis del lenguaje Sensonte.
Hello everybody, our name is Rocío and Patti, and we're part of a language justice club from here in Asheville called Sensonte.
Y estamos aquí para interpretar del español al inglés y del inglés al español.
And we're here to interpret from English to Spanish and Spanish to English.
Y si se va a estar ocupando hoy el equipo, solo tenemos algunas señales que nos gustaría que aprendieran por si alguien tiene un comentario.
And we'll be using the equipment today, and we're gonna explain a little bit how, a couple signs to know to make it easier for everybody.
Y esas es que si hacen un comentario y están hablando demasiado rápido, vamos a hacer esta señal para que hablen más despacio.
If you see us do these signs, it means that you're speaking really fast and we can't catch up, so slow down so we can catch everything you're saying.
Y si están hablando demasiado bajo, vamos a hacer esto para que hablen más fuerte y podamos escuchar.
And if we can't hear what you said because you need to speak louder, we're going to do this, so you speak louder, we can hear you.
Si alguien está teniendo un problema con el equipo, por favor, contáctenos a una de las personas que no están usando el micrófono.
And if you have any issues with the equipment, please contact one of us, the one that's not on the mic. So thank you so much.
Gracias, este es un espacio bilingüe que necesita el esfuerzo de todos, así que les agradecemos de antemano.
And we want to thank everybody to be here and help us create a multilingual space. So thank you.
Thank you.
So, good evening. My name is Deborah Campbell, and I have the honor and pleasure of serving the role as your city manager. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with this seating arrangement because there's so few of us. So what I'd like to do is just take a couple of minutes for us to just get into a circle so we can have a little bit more intimate conversation, if that's okay with you all. I appreciate that. Space for others that may come in and join us. Because what we're going to do tonight, and this is starting the meeting off with the end in mind. We're going to begin with the end in mind. After the end of this meeting, hopefully you will see that through this process, we have taken a lot of your feedback and information to craft a job profile for the chief of police. The whole purpose of this meeting is to provide you, hopefully, with some of the summary of the feedback that we received. This meeting is demonstrating that we have captured, we think we captured the theme and the spirit of the feedback that you all gave us, and this is what has been used in our recruitment efforts for the chief of police. So at the end, everybody's going to say, yes, Deborah, you captured everything we told you we needed out of a chief of police. And if you don't, that's okay as well. We just need to hear from you. So anyway, let me get here. As I mentioned earlier, we are in the process of recruiting for an extremely important member of the City of Asheville's organizational team, and that is the Chief of Police. We have been on, I guess since January or February, having a series of public meetings to get input from people in Asheville about the characteristics, skill set, experience, attributes of what we would want from a chief of police. We said at that time that we were going to take that information, and by the way, we do have a professional organization, and let me get you it's called PERF, but it's the Police Executive Research Forum, and that organization is the group that is doing the search for us, and created the job profile for us, and reached out across the country to encourage potential candidates to apply. So in January and February, we did a lot of community outreach, again trying to understand what the needs were. We posted, I guess, the profile in early March, mid-March, and we took applications up until the 15th of April, and we have received 89 applications. We're in the process of reviewing those applications to narrow them down to the number of individuals that we will interview. What I will say, though, is I am so pleased at the response because there was interest expressed through the application process from, again, individuals across the country. So it wasn't just people in the South that responded, it was all over the country, so we're very pleased. Tonight, again, we wanted to just have a feedback loop. We heard from you, we crafted a profile, and we just want to make sure that we provide you with the information that we think you all told us in terms of your needs out of a chief of police. So if you will just follow, I'm going to go old school and just use this hand turn the page approach. The first page is essentially just a description of who we are in terms of the city of Asheville and the purpose. We are trying to recruit for, obviously, a police chief. It gives a little bit of a description of Asheville from the perspective of where we're located geographically. It talks about, and I'm on the next page, Asheville City Government, the Asheville Police Department, and then it gets into a profile and the description of the ideal candidate. And that is the information that we're going to spend the majority of our time discussing. We thought that there were generally 5 almost areas or skill sets that we heard from the majority of people who participated in the earlier processes. First, around leadership, community engagement, management skills, inclusion, and interpersonal skills. Those are kind of the big 5 buckets of experience, characteristics, attributes that we heard what's needed. And under, I'll take just a couple. And I will say before I go into kind of drill down on the details of, oh yeah, if you can just join our circle, that would be fantastic. Great. Of these 5 skills, let's start with leadership. But before I drill down, this is a very long profile. We don't normally, when we are recruiting for positions, have these many characteristics and skill sets. I mean, literally, we are asking for someone who walks on water. Exactly. We are asking for a lot out of this individual because this is such an important position that we hopefully will add soon to our organizational team. So under leadership, and let me just stop again, because I introduced myself. I think this group is small enough that you all can introduce yourselves as well. So please start from my right.
Sure. I'm Carol Rogoff Foster. I'm a retired attorney, veteran of the civil rights movement, and served for 7 years on CPAC.
Thank you.
Yes, Demita Jo Wilder. I'm the pastor of Barrett Chapel, AME Zion Church, but I'm also the president of the Interdenominational Minister Alliance.
Welcome.
Joe Fiatola, I live in the Weekend neighborhood. I'm on the neighborhood advisory committee. I'm a retired police dispatcher, 30 years at the city.
Thank you
And
for
my
your
name is
service.
Robert Mays. I am the Vice President of the Charlotte Community Association. I'm the treasurer of Project Lighten Up Summer Camp and After School, and I also work with Buncombe County Community Engagement Pop-Up Markets.
Thank you.
Mary Ann Newman. I don't have all these official positions, but I'm really interested in the whole police situation. That's why I've been attending some PAC meetings as much as I could. And I've been involved with some of the statistical collection, encouraging the statistical collection.
Thank you so much for coming.
Scott Massington, just an interested citizen.
Okay.
My name is Maddie, and I help with the Sunshine Request.
My name's Holden, and I'm with Sunshine Request. We live stream meetings to Facebook, and we also have a website where we help handle public records requests.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cameron?
I'm Mark from WLO. I'm the best in the circle.
Was he afraid of running in the circle?
I'm Mark also with WLO.
Okay, great.
Bethany Golan, Finance and Communications for the City of Asheville.
Peggy Rowe, I'm with the City of Asheville. Val Hitch, I'm also with the City of Asheville.
And then we've got a young man in the back.
An honorary member. An honorary member of City staff.
I'm Brenda Mills from the city.
And they introduce themselves. You want to do it again?
And you just go there.
Thank you. Okay, I promise you we won't digress anymore. So under leadership, I'm not going to read through every one of these things as it relates to the profile, so I'm going to hit some of the highlights and in particular emphasize those things that we heard specifically from the community that was really, really important as it relates to that specific area. So under leadership, I'll just take a couple of them. Demonstrated competencies in visionary, effective, community engaged, and strong police leadership. A commitment to leading an open and transparent police department with the goal of establishing a high degree of community trust. Compassionate, empathetic leadership and a willingness to listen and be responsive to ideas generated by City of Asheville stakeholders and a commitment to having consistent dialogue. That was kind of the theme and the flavor of it. Literally, if we just took those ones that I read, that was just consistently feedback that we heard from the community. Under community, I'll stop there to see if there's any questions, any conversation around this competency or possibly, I guess, characteristic. So under community engagement was the second one. Again, I'm not going to read through all of them, just highlight a few. Must understand and get to know the different neighborhoods that make up the City of Asheville and the differences in their concerns and perspectives regarding police services. Must instill the value of establishing community relationships throughout the department and ensure that community members from all neighborhoods are treated with respect and dignity. Must work collaboratively with city government, the business community, nonprofit, and social service organizations to identify innovative ideas for addressing issues concerning the homeless and others who are transit and travel through Asheville. A commitment to serving as a mentor and a willingness to become invested in the community and provide a sense of stability within the police department. So those were, and again, I didn't have all of them, but that was under community engagement. And essentially what we're asking for this next leader is to be present and look at the police department as being a part of city government, not separate, but a partner, not only with our internal team, but also with the community at large. And I think that's what that skill set is asking for.
May I just ask you in terms of how you'd like to proceed? Do you want to go through them all, then the opportunity?
We can stop here, that's fine.
My questions then relate to the reference to community policing. During the 7 years that I served on CPAC, I found that there was not a consistent and coherent understanding, belief in, commitment to community policing, what it meant, how that was interpreted, translated. How is that in this process, Ms. Campbell, being conveyed so that perhaps the department can make greater progress in implementing true community policing?
I sincerely think that a lot of the direction as it relates to 21st century policing needs to come from this individual. And that individual has to identify some extremely high expectations in terms of consistent approaches to, and when I was in Charlotte, we actually call it community problem-oriented policing, because essentially what we're trying to do is solve problems. And we're actually, where the emphasis is more on preventing crime rather than reacting to crime. And in order to be very good in terms of prevention, you have to develop partnerships. You have to understand who's in the community, what the issues and concerns are. And a lot of those issues and concerns, excuse me, as it I guess as it relates to crime prevention, it's more around social and economic issues, which the police in and of itself cannot solve. That's why it is incumbent upon that officer to be engaged with and associated with all the other community organizations that can help them solve problems, broader individual problems. So in terms of a standard definition, that should come from that leader. And as we go through the interview process, approaches to problem-oriented policing will be one that we will consistently ask of that individual to explain their approach and their knowledge of community policing. So the third area is management skills. And I'll just read maybe 2 of them. Must understand how to appropriately share information and have a collaborative approach to solving problems and avoiding silos throughout the city organization as well as within the police department. Must be able to collaborate with other organizations to address issues related to wellness and mental health in the community and police department. So you can see that theme again of collaboration, that individually the police can address broader issues if they perform and do things in a much more holistic and I think broader perspective of looking at crime prevention is more than locking up people. It is more around understanding what the issues are within the community and, quite frankly, possibly the issues with that individual. Any other? Number 4 is inclusion. Cultural awareness and sensitivity and application of diversity and understanding of the need for equity, inclusiveness, and social justice. The ability to understand the history and cultural distinctions of the community and the police department, and to build bridges that unite this community as a whole. Be a good listener, not make decisions in a vacuum, and be willing to ask questions and obtain input from others. So that's the kind of characteristics, attributes under the inclusion. And then lastly, interpersonal skills. Superior interpersonal skills that demonstrate confidence and a commitment to being visible, available, and approachable within the department and in the community with the goal of improving neighborhoods for everyone. Experience and demonstrated success building strong relationships of trust, mutual understanding, and accountability with the community, with police officers, and with the city officials and local and regional public safety partners. Which means that with the DA's office, with the Sheriff's Department, working with the majority of the law enforcement or other law enforcement entities within Asheville and Buncombe County. So those were some of the ones that I highlighted, but you can see the extensive list of those attributes. For those of you who attended the meetings, did we kind of capture the spirit? If not exactly what was communicated to us in terms of some of the attributes and skills and things that that most people wanted out of this new position. Not new position, but out of a new police chief. I'm sorry.
It wasn't at the meetings. I
Oh.
did, however, fill out the online.
Online one, okay.
And I want to say that the concerns behind what I said, I guess, do not.
Okay. Good. Anybody else that attended or any feedback you want to give us? This process, as I said, has been as interactive as possible. From here, we will be going through the interview process. I'll be making a decision, and hopefully that decision will happen late May, early June, I'm hoping. It's not, you're right, it's not, I don't have a whole lot of time, but I don't think this community has a lot of time either. Nor the department in particular. I think we need to make a decision. The chief left, I think, in December, so we're approaching almost 6 months with an interim. So I think it's time that we get this position filled.
May I ask who's going to be involved in the interviews and
So we will have staff from a variety of places. No internals. Staff from the police department will be a part of the panel. I have asked former police officers that are not located in Buncombe or Asheville that were a part of some other communities that I've worked in. So it will be a combination of those individuals helping us make the decision.
Can you speak to your decision, and I had asked this question at one of our input meetings, your decision to not have community participation as part of this process?
So I think that the community participation happened with the development of this, which is the profile. The expectation of an individual, the attributes, the characteristics. The actual decision, I think, should be made by the manager because it is not a decision of who might be popular or who may have come across in a way that feels comfortable with the community. I really do think that it's a decision that I need to make and be held accountable for making.
I agree with that, sir. I understand the structure of government. The question is just as to whether or not that might be even a better informed decision if there were not some way of having continuing community input on an interview panel, for example.
I think the other challenge with that is these individuals are currently employed, and I do not want to risk them are losing an individual because the process is so public. I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to recruit the best candidate, and sometimes that involves a heightened level of sensitivity to their current employment situation. And I think when we have these very, very high profile processes, that could jeopardize us recruiting a good individual.
So the panel will help you reduce the 89 down to 3, 2, 1? But how far are they going to find the best out of those 89?
The best one?
They're going to reduce all the way down to the best one? Okay. Because the last time we had the last process that we had with the chief, we reduced it to 3, and then we had public meetings where we got to talk to them. Not this time.
No, sir.
Okay.
Not this time. Anything else? So the process, again, as I said, hope to make a decision in late May, early June. I'm going to ask you to trust me. Just going to ask you to trust me as your city manager that I will make the best decision for this community.
And then when you decide, will we hear in the newspapers, or how will we find out about the new person?
How would you like to find out?
I don't know.
I will work with Dara, who is my communications person, on the best strategy. But I think because we have had some of these kind of intimate kinds of conversations, you may just bring the individual out and say, guess what? Here's the new person. Yeah.
I have a question. Whenever you make a decision on this issue, well, I guess it's a request, especially for my community, that whoever it is will have, at least get a history lesson of Asheville. Because if it's somebody that's not from here, I always say that Asheville is a very delicate, different place, and the different communities function in different ways. So I would just ask that whoever it is would come out and maybe embrace the communities, especially the ones like Stevens Lee, Burger Street, Shiloh, all of those, or even all the other communities at some point, and maybe listen to some of the history, because you're talking about, I think one of the points in here was about community engagement and talking to people.
That's
and
right.
Maybe I think if we had that person would be able to have a sense of feeling of how the community is, and we can work it that way, because living up here all my life, we're different because if we don't know you, and sometimes it's not that easy to get to know you, especially if you've been here all your life, and then strange people come in, and it's not like you want to see the human side of it sometimes. And I think that helps us with community engagement, and if you're saying it's one other person to help with the, not just to put people in jail, but to find out how we can keep them out of jail, I think that the communities would be more than willing to help with that cause if we knew that the officers in the city were kind of like on the same page.
Absolutely. I will make certain that that person understands again that this is a contact sport. You've got to be out in the community. You just have to, and you have to engage in a way that you can begin to build trust. And not only does the new chief of police have to do that, I have to do that. I mean, I'm in the process of trying to do that as well, because there's been a lot of turnover in the city of Asheville government. There's lots of new faces that are showing up in meetings with some fairly high profile titles and positions in the community. And yes, we're going to be out in the community, and talking and being engaged and collectively coordinating and problem solving with, not for, but with the community.
Really an interesting entry into a job, because at the same time, the person is going to have to be asserting a control or direction in the police department itself. And that's sort of a full-time job, as is being out in the community and saying that if the police department can sort of run itself for a little while longer, to have this person have the opportunity to do the part that hasn't been done.
So I think the best way for a leader to come into an organization is to model good leadership. And if you want people to follow you, you have to demonstrate the behavior you want them to model. And I'm trying to practice that. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying. And I would expect that from the next police chief, because there are lots of organizational challenges within the police department, within the government in general, where obviously you see improvements that need to be made, don't have enough resources to make those improvements as fast as you want to. But what I'm expecting of both myself as well as the rest of my team is community engagement in a way that's not superficial, it's real. So if there aren't any more questions, I guess we're gonna get to go home early.
I really appreciate your willingness to do this.
Absolutely.
And your willingness to be that model for the organization.
It means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
You know, you always go
I've been there a couple of times.
But I think that will make a difference. I think that if we get to the point that, and I understand what you're saying about if they're working and doing police work, in Shiloh, we do have our officers, different ones that come in and they come to our meetings. We've established that, and I would hope that all the communities can do the same thing as far as everyone in government, to really just come, because I know it's challenging, but you know, we have a voice, and we just want positive feedback. Sure, to know that you care about, you know, about what's going on and what we're doing.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you all for taking the time to come out. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned. I'm going to celebrate if I can find this person, let me tell you. We will definitely get back to you all in a way that
That's what we are going to do. Have, in response to your question, have a community celebration, have a community open house.
There you
the
go.
hiring of this new person.
There you
That'd
go.
be a great way to kick it off.
Absolutely. All right, you got it. All right, dog.
Deliver.
Start working on it.
Deliver.
Absolutely. Great idea. Thank you.
Just a final couple of things.
Sure.
There's some cards in the bag with information on how you can keep in touch with the information that we have, more copies of the profile, and that if you have any other questions, we're going to be putting our tape on YouTube in the next couple of days. If you know people that didn't get a chance to come, then they can hear some of the questions and answers we got. And thank you again for being here.
Thanks, Brenda.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you.